The month of April began without the slightest hint of the ferocity the air battle would assume over the coming days. Broken clouds and intermittent rain had kept aerial operations to a minimum, and the skies over the front were genuinely quiet. History records British losses for April 1st at 2 aircraft, an FE-2 Phi and a BE-2. The latter machine, a Quirk belonging to No. 15 Squadron, had been performing an artillery observation when a lone Albatross fighter had popped out of a low cloud and latched onto its tail. The Germans' initial burst wounded the Quirk's pilot, Captain Arthur Wynne. As the observer, Lieutenant Mackenzie swung his gun to and fro to fend off the attacker. A second burst slammed into his chest and killed him. The British machine fell just inside the Allied side of the lines, whereupon the Albatross proceeded to dive down upon and strafe the wreckage. The German victor was Oberleutnant Werner Voss, all of 19 years old, and the Quirk he dispatched had been his 23rd official kill. Werner Voss was born in the town of Krefeld, near the Dutch border in 1897, the eldest son of an industrial dyer. Barely 17 when the war began, Voss immediately enlisted as a ground soldier and performed with distinction on the Eastern Front, winning both the Iron Cross First and Second Class before transferring to aviation. In November 1916, a month after the death of the great Oswald Boelcke, Voss arrived at Jasta II, having recently earned his wings as a Jagdflieger. Even as a member of Germany's greatest fighter squadron, it did not take Voss long to establish himself as one of the best pilots in Jasta Boelcke. Superb flying and a keen eye for shooting were attributes the young man possessed in abundance, and before the month was over, Voss had knocked down 2 British machines and was on his way to proving himself as, arguably, the most gifted flyer of the war. When von Richthofen left Jasta Boelcke a month later to take command of his own squadron, Voss took the Baron's place as a flight leader. The harsh December weather curtailed most of the frontline flying, and Voss scored only once during that month, downing a Quirk which fell inside the German lines. As the weather improved in February, however, the still 18-year-old Voss flew almost non-stop and drove down another 8 enemy machines, bringing his score to 11. March turned out to be a remarkable month for the talented young man as he added yet another 11 victories to his score. As the great air battle of April 1917 began, Werner Voss stood poised for a remarkable career that would culminate 5 months later in what remains one of the most celebrated dogfights in the history of warfare. The Arras campaign proved to be a tragedy for the Royal Flying Corps. By the end of the month, they were to lose over 900 pilots and observers, fully 1/3 of their air crews. Hopelessly outclassed by their German counterparts, squadron after squadron of Phis and Quirks were decimated as they attempted to carry out their missions in support of the battle raging on the ground. It was an amazing period for the German fighter pilots, described by one flyer as like sharks feeding on minnows. Scores of obsolete reconnaissance machines and outgunned British fighters flew daily against the packs of the newest Albatross fighters, led by the most experienced Jasta leaders. Virtually all the fighting was on the German side of the lines, which usually assured that the German victory claims got confirmed, as the wreckage of British machines littered down on their side. For the British flyers, the prevailing westerly winds inevitably made the homeward journey a slow, nightmarish affair.